So our next speaker is the amazing Barbara Worsley. Barbara was born in London, England. She's an RN, retired, worked many years as a nurse before moving to the United States in the early 1990s. She is the mother of 2 adult sons and lives in Amesbury, Massachusetts. Barbara is better known as a channel to many ascended masters, galactics, and dragons, and affectionately is known as the East Coast Dragon Lady. I lost my place. Oh, and Galactic Dragon Ambassador. Oh, wow. She has studied many modalities over the years and is a mind, body, spirit practitioner using Reiki and polarity combinations as a hands-on healer. Please help me welcome the amazing Barbara Worsley.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. So I was trying to decide, as I'm going to talk about grounding, do we need grounding now or should we wait till the end? I think we've had 2 really intense presentations, and I think we all felt that. So I don't know, do you want to ground now, or we can do an exercise at the end? So that's what I'm going to be talking about, is why it's important. But
I say, can we walk through like a quick little short exercise now?
It's absolutely, yeah, because I'm feeling like when we all get emotional, like literally we're not grounded. So and then I'll go on to talk about why I actually picked grounding. So again, thank you for those of you that are here. And I also want to say, so I have to say this because, as you know, I'm a channel, and Merlin is with me, and he's very insistent that I say Merlin is here. So he likes these sort of things. So just get comfortable where you are. If you can put your feet on the ground, barefoot is great, but just literally put both your feet on the ground and close your eyes. And to feel present in this world each day, ground yourself in Mother Gaia, in her beautiful green earth. Sit, close your eyes and relax. Take a deep cleansing breath in, and now just blow it out. And again, take a deep cleansing breath in and blow it out. Now I want you to just imagine that there are roots growing out of the bottom of your feet. And just imagine them going down into Mother Earth, into Mother Gaia. You can go as shallow or as deep as you want. The deeper you go, the more grounded you're going to feel. And then once you feel your roots going down, find a rock that will anchor you into Mother Earth and wrap your roots around that beautiful, sturdy rock. This anchors you in and it will support you. Now again, take another deep cleansing breath in and blow it out. Feel your connection with the Mother and give her thanks for holding you each day. She sends you her heartfelt love from her heart to yours. Take another deep breath in, hold it for the count of 4, and now just blow it out and give thanks for the day or the night, and ask to be surrounded with beautiful crystalline light or any color that feels right to you. Ask to be protected as you move through your day or sleep at night. And so it is. So when you all feel able, just come back into the room. You might need another deep breath there. So why did I choose grounding? I decided that part of my chapter in the book is actually talking about why I connected with dragons. And one of the things I talk about is what I learned was important for me was to be grounded. And when I would ask, how come I can do these things? I was told, because you've been grounding yourself, and the deeper that you can ground yourself in Mother Gaia, the higher vibrations that you can meet. And that sort of made sense to me, because I couldn't understand how things were coming to me so easily. So my name, how did I get named East Coast Dragon Lady? Well, I was in I think it was a Facebook group. So like for a lot of us, a lot of things changed during COVID. And I found an online community, which was actually based out of Arizona. And it was, I didn't even know, I was on a journey, like a lot of us, to actually figure out where was I going next. And when I was asking about what do I need to do, I was told, ground yourself. So I started a ritual, like a lot of us do, and you can call it whatever you like, but in the morning, it's a bit like cleaning your teeth. I do a quick grounding ritual. I'm also a Pisces. So any of you know anything about Pisces, I could live out in the ethers, right? So I learned very early on that I needed to actually put my roots down every day. And again, I didn't know why. But anyway, I was in this group, and there was two Barbaras, and somebody asked, which Barbara are you? And before I even thought about what I was saying, I said, oh, I'm the East Coast Dragon Lady, because I used to say I was the Dragon Lady. And then like 5 people said, oh my God, that is like such a great name for you, because you're connecting with dragons and you're on the East Coast. Because I often used to say, I'm here on the East Coast of the United States, which of course my accent often confuses people, especially in the day of internet. When you see somebody on there, you don't know where they're from. And then I start talking about the United States. So that was how I got that title. But the Galactic Dragon Ambassador was, as I was connecting more with galactic dragons, and I might go back to that in a minute. As I was connecting with dragons, I was finding that I was actually working in the galactic realms. And the dragons actually told me that this was my title, that I was the Galactic Dragon Ambassador.
There you go.
Again, another test, right? just a little test here, right? So what I did want to talk about was, so once I had discovered dragons, which was about 2 years ago, I actually encountered them in the sky. I didn't know what I was seeing at the time. But with that connection, it opened up many other things for me. And it's been 2 years of a really fast ride. And one thing that I was led to, or made a connection, was with, interesting for me, somebody back in England who I didn't know, who was also connecting with dragons. And he had been guided by his dragons to put on an international dragon thunder. And that happened, I keep saying it was last year, but it was this July. And we actually so he asked me to co-host with him this international dragon thunder, which dragon thunder is humans coming together to meet their dragons, which had never happened as far as we know. And he was told that that he needed to bring 1,000 people. And at the time when we were talking, we had like 15 or 20 people maybe. And then 5 of us were going to do a presentation. By the time it actually happened, we had over 1,000 people participating. So when the dragons tell you something, it means it's going to happen. And we had people attending from as far away as South Africa, Australia, Canada, and England, and the United States. And that has opened up for me a lot of people. That was recorded as well. I can actually put the information for you. So that was recorded and is actually up and is free for people to go in and check out, people that are working with dragons. So a lot of people hadn't met a whole group of people. So here we are across the world now, connected. And next year we have another big event coming up where we're going to do a rolling 24-hour Dragon Thunder, which is starting in Australia, going to England, and then finishing in the United States. So it's going to be 24 hours of everything dragon. So part of me choosing grounding to talk about was the importance of being present. Because as you can imagine, those of you that channel, or you know people that channel, you need to be fully grounded in and anchored. Really, it's really about anchoring yourself. I've been fortunate that channeling came pretty easy to me, and one of the things that I learned. So originally, I was doing what I called automatic writing, and a lot of people do that, and that's really sort of just putting yourself out there and writing down what you get. And I'd probably done that for many years, but didn't think of it as channeling until it was pointed out to me that what I was writing was actual channeled messages. And then once I embraced that and I actually said out loud, "Oh, I'm a channel," that changed. And in my chapter in the book, I've actually put a couple of examples of channeled messages and oftentimes these messages are timeless. So it doesn't matter when you write it, when it's read, it's perfect for that time. And if I have time, I do have a channeled message, surprise, surprise, from Merlin, because he loves giving me all these messages to share with people, because he loves, and a lot of the ascended masters as well love it when we get together. So they love these sort of things as well. They love when groups of people get together and share their experiences. And I think that's where we learn so much about each other and where people are. So else to go. Oh, yeah. So one of the, so I'll quickly go back and say that I've only really been encountering dragons for about the last 2 years, or channeling their messages. And again, I wasn't sure why I was doing that. So I've just literally put myself there and said, just guide me. And in the past month or so, things changed. I actually took Dragon Empowerment Reiki. So I do practice Reiki, but I had never heard of Dragon Reiki. So I was all excited about that. And I took that first level. And since then, it's really changed what I'm doing. And there's two things that came up for me. One was I was guided to do painting. Now, I do sometimes landscape and that sort of stuff. I've never done intuitive anything painting. And they were like, just paint and it will come. And I've got a handful of paintings now that I don't even know the last one I just did, I didn't even know what it was until I finished it. And then I was told that it was actually dragon ley lines that I had painted. And they're telling me that what I put I'm doing sort of colors in the borders, and that are actual channeled messages or higher frequency things that go in there. And then literally a couple of days ago, they said to me, "You can draw dragons." And I was like, "Draw dragon? No, I can't do that." And they were like, "Try it." So now I'm drawing dragons. So I think you just have to put your faith in what messages you're given and just go with it. And I'm also aware that, some of this, it's, as we've all said, when we're telling our stories, we're putting ourselves out there. We're standing and actually say, I wouldn't have thought, if you'd have told me 2 years ago that I was going to be channeling dragons or working with dragons, I wasn't like a kid. Some people say, "Oh, I've been interested in dragons since I was a child." Nothing, not at all. So I was really surprised when I actually saw dragons and took pictures of dragons. And since then, people now love to send me pictures of dragons in the sky. So if you look up, this is what they always tell me, if you look up, you'll be surprised what you see. So I live somewhere where, for some reason, we get really beautiful clouds. I'm quite high up, quite near the ocean. And those formations come in. And recently we've had, like a lot of the United States, a round of storms, pretty frequent storms. And I've been able to see all sorts of dragons. There have been thunder dragons. They love that. And storm dragons, they're sort of dark and they love to come in and fly around. And they leave these like vapor trails, but they're very low. So I just find, and then when people post things on Facebook with pictures, I often say, "Oh, did you see the dragon there?" So that's how I've become known. And before I would be like, I'll never talk about channeling or talking about seeing dragons, but it's so much fun. I mean, really, it's like everything that I know currently about dragons is what they've told me. And then when you meet other people that work with dragons, we all have a very similar thing going on. And a lot of people started with Reiki, which again, really has surprised me. But it seems like once you can tap into that sort of energy, it's amazing what else comes in. So I think that's maybe the time. I think right now that's all I wanted to talk about, why I chose and grounding. I think for all of us is important each day. It's a bit like beginning of the day. It just keeps me focused. So as I say, I've got Merlin here saying you need to share his message. So I will end with this message. It's not that long, but I think it's again universal what he has to say. So he says, "Dear one, do not try so hard in connecting with us. We are just a whisper away. So just ask us for us by name or for a message, and we will always tell you who we are. We bring you words for you to speak about discernment today. You have seen this with your very own eyes. We do not judge people, person, or places, but there are many right now who are casting doubt on those who live in fear. We have spoken often about not stepping into fear because it is said that all you have to fear is fear itself. It sounds like a very wise person spoke of this years ago, and as I often speak in the older ways, this speaks to me very deeply. There is nothing to fear, dear ones. You create your own reality every day. If you do not live with fear or allow fear to be on your lips, there is nothing but what you put into your reality. Yes, it sounds simple, but as said many times, live from your heart, forgive often. You do not need to hold on to the past. It has happened. Move along and set yourself free. Forgiveness sent from your heart to those who have harmed or wronged you will allow softness to enter their heart space. It plants a seed of hope. It is also possible to forget, but that takes time. If we were all living in a heart-centered world, oh, how different life would be. For now, my dear ones, practice forgiveness, practice living in that beautiful heart of yours. And see the beauty in everyone and everything around you. We learn many lessons from those who have judged us, those who have hurt us mentally and physically. Love, you see, overcomes every little thing. You, dear one, were once a non-believer in the love solutions, but as you have progressed and learnt the lessons of letting go and truly let the light in, forgive those who hurt you to your core. You have become the light that is needed to guide others in the direction of letting go. And this was from Merlin and Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn is Merlin's wife, by the way. That's a whole nother story. So I think that really ties together a couple of, so I always say he always has on-time messages. And I think that has spoken to both the things that we've heard today from Cheryl and that beautiful one at the beginning about 9/11. So I thank you for your time. And I look forward to reading everybody else's chapters. So I hope you look forward to reading mine. So thank you.
Barbara, thank you so much. I appreciate you and I appreciate your gifts. If anybody has any questions for Barbara, we do have a few minutes and Jamie is just working on getting back into the room here. And I know that Barbara is receptive to questions. And not only because I've read her chapter, so I have a little bit of a sneak peek on it. But Barbara, can you share a little bit, if you don't mind me picking on you for a few minutes here, can you share a little bit on how maybe you tried to suppress your gifts when you started to hear people, when you started to receive the channels? Am I making sense?
Right, yes, yeah. So actually I didn't. I think that some people do. I was able, because I was doing automatic writing, which again, in my chapter, I do write a little bit about what that is. And if you don't know, you can just sit down with a piece of paper or a notebook and just quieten your mind and maybe ground yourself, because it does help if you're grounded. And then I was pretty used to writing messages, but I wasn't calling them channeled. What changed for me was when I actually said out loud that I was a channel. And then that was like, oh, that sort of was something that I wasn't like, that I'm channeling. And I say that in my chapter, I keep going, well, I'm a channel, or I've seen dragons. I mean, I question a lot. But it was, I think sometimes people maybe get scared. I think that's where you're going with this. Like when you start hearing a voice, is it like, is this right? I'm hearing this. I think it's helped that I had Merlin as somebody who'd worked with me. And I certainly, and oftentimes people hear, they don't see. And there are some, so I've just started to see some of the dragons. And they're pretty big. So sometimes you don't see all of them, and it isn't necessary. It's often just so yeah, I think people do get concerned that they're hearing voices. But then you can, as I always tell people, ask. I mean, if I'm not sure, so how I started, sometimes I would be writing messages. I didn't know who they were from. And I would say, well, who is this? And they would give me a name. And thank goodness for Google is all I can say, because I Google a lot. So I'll tell you the story about Gwendolyn. So when I got a message one day, and it was very nice about, I'm walking on the path with you, I'm holding your hand, I'm here with you. And I was like, well, who is this? And she said, I'm Gwendolyn, I'm Merlin's wife. And I was like, Merlin has a wife? So I Googled it in the way I saw the name, which was actually the Welsh way of writing Gwendolyn. And sure enough, it said that was Merlin's wife. So I have her with me. She says that she doesn't say very much because Merlin has a lot to say, but she walks with me each day. So it's sort of like, it's like having a good friend there every day, is all I can say. I think if I had suddenly just started to hear voices, that might have been a bit different. But I do work in the mental health field, so I would question that pretty quickly.
Sure, I guess that's very true. Awesome. I appreciate that. I did share your Facebook group here in the chat because I know that you've got a great group going on Facebook.
Yes. And I do have, so tomorrow is World Dragon Day. How well timed is this conference, this retreat? So I didn't even know about it until a friend of mine started to say, hey, I've seen this. We should do something, or we should talk about dragons. So when I was invited to this Dragon Thunder, which I really knew very little about, and I did not know Kevin, who's actually lives in Devon in England, quite close to my family, which again is coincidence. He's actually going to be my guest tomorrow on my Dragon Hour. So one of the things that came out of this, a lot of things came out of the Dragon Thunder, but the dragons told me there's going to be a lot of people that are going to find this group of people and they're going to feel lost and they need somewhere to go with it. And they said, you need to have an hour that you can talk about dragons. So that's what I did. So I've just established what I call Dragon Hour, which is a 90-minute chat. Again, somebody said, oh, well, you need to they would do it weekly. And I said, no, I don't know enough people to do that. And of course, the minute I said I don't know enough people, I'm now booked people into February next year to come and talk about dragons. So, it's what you put out there, right? So obviously I do know more than a few people that know about dragons, and I'm meeting more as I go along. So that's what for me is exciting. And it's exciting to have these sort of venues where you can talk about those sort of things, which of course has given me a side business right now because I'm still working full time. It's sort of my side business, but it's also fun. So it isn't that hard. So I love that it's and I do use dragon cards. I do a daily either pull a card from somewhere. Sometimes the dragon cards, recently they haven't been, but they are all linked in. and yeah, and everything that I have now is East Coast Dragon Lady something. So Gmail, Facebook. So you can find me there. If you go onto my website, it links you to all of those. So it's like a one-click thing, which I had nothing to do with, because and technology and me are not good. I know Cindy's laughing. She knows that. I know technology. I'm like, I don't even make me touch it. So, but again, thank you for this opportunity.
Dang it. I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful that you said yes. And only because, like I said, I got to read your chapter. And I think, the resounding message through to yesterday and today and finishing off our weekend is just that there needs to be more opportunities for stories to be shared and told. And so I'm grateful that you're able to rise up and share and speak yours. So thank you for that big time. I appreciate you.